Hey guys, Bay here, and we are starting off the new season with a bang. New microphone, new OC, new intro, a few new effects. I'm really excited about it. Today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the Season 5 premiere, Cutie map. Oh dear Celestia, do I have a lot to say about this episode. It turned out even better than I'd expected. I guess I'd better go over it real quick though, because rules and stuff? I don't know. So let's just get into it. So we start off in the brand new Crystal Castle, talking about how it came to be and why. A question I'm hoping that will be some kind of plot element later. I'm hoping to see some good headcanons on that as well.
Then, as they sit down at their thrones, their cutie marks burst into flames, opening a magical map leading them to the world free of the tyranny that is the two Alicorn sisters.
Wait a minute, that doesn't sound like MLP at all. That could have been a fanfiction I stumbled upon. So the butt tattoo map leads them to what's probably the creepiest town in Equestria, without telling anyone where they're going save for Spike, bringing no supplies, and not even bothering to learn its name. I get that they trust the magical map, but there is no reason to walk into a town half-cocked and blind. Now the only problem I have with this is that it proves that Spike's character is whatever the writer needs to fit the plot. I was hoping that would change a little bit this season, and it still might, but I'm doubting it. Ah well, there's always next year. Maybe those writers will finally figure out who the hell Spike is. That, or they were just using it as a chance to flesh out his character a little more and add a little more development to it. Now if that is indeed the case, I would be able to appreciate that. That'd be pretty cool, giving Spike some character and getting him into sports and stuff, because I think he has shown a little bit, at least in the Equestria games, so that might be cool to give him a little more of that development. But if they don't actually stick to it, then they pretty much just pulled it out of their ass, so we'll know. The town's design is bleak and boring, almost appearing garish at times. The characters are strange to say the least, with their creepy smiles and alien kindness. Everything about this place just seems too nice and ordinary. Harmony is supposed to be a balance between order and chaos. But here it seems that everything is perfect. No fights, no misunderstandings, everyone gets along. It's unnatural. And then we meet my new favorite antagonist, Starlight Glimmer. No. Not Shimmer, Glimmer. Glimmer. Get it? Thank you. See, this is what happens when you hire socialist ponies. Starlight Glimmer is a pony with a neat design, a knack for magic, and a strange idea of what friendship and equality is. She says that true friendship can only happen if everyone is equal and no one ever fights. But her skills in magic, I think it might rival Twilight's, at least in some ways. I mean, a pony who can take the cutie mark, a form of magic, away from another is almost unheard of, at least as far as we know. And I really like this character. She thinks, or seems to think, that she's actually doing something nice in bringing ponies together, instead of causing chaos because it's fun, taking all the magic in Equestria because magic, and taking away the sun until everyone starves. At first I thought that she might have been made fun of for her cutie mark at some point, and that might still be the case, but she's obviously studied magic for years. This means that she would have been seen as good at it, so while it's not totally impossible, it's still rather unlikely. Someone close to her may have been treated poorly for it, although if that were the case, then where are they now? I can't come up with a good motivation for her actions, which kind of sucks because I'm really hoping she actually has good motivations for her actions. That would add so much more to the show. Although we'll probably get some really good fanfics and headcanons out of that, so that should be pretty fun as the season progresses. And then, we get the song. As I said in my react, the song's not bad, and it definitely gets the point across. I don't think they've ever tried to use this kind of marching band music in the show before, so it's understandable that it's not up to par with some of the other tunes we've gotten in the past. I'm sure it might be good, but it's just not my kind of music. It's a little too Enclave-esque for my taste. Still though, the lyrics are good, and the singing is not that bad. It helps set up the story like any music used in this medium should, and it wasn't all that hard to understand what it was trying to say. I still think the song could have been cut out for a little monologue, but this does help to show how close and happy all the town's ponies are. I guess it gets a pass. So as it turns out, the town's ponies want the main six to give up their marks. And like any pony in the right mind, the cool town's ponies excluded, they didn't go for it. Then they meet up with a few ponies in a creepy basement who dream of having their talents back. They say that sometimes they miss being able to do the things that they could before. Of course this makes sense, especially after seeing how awful the muffins were that she baked. I wouldn't wish eating those on anyone. Interestingly, the town's ponies didn't seem to understand that someone can have a disagreement and still get along, which is obviously ludicrous. They're all programmed to think that having a cutie mark and not being the same is bad. Star uses fear as well as a form of auditory mind control to manipulate her population. This is where the whole communist thing comes in. Communism is all about everyone being equal and having the same things. A system that works fine on paper, once it's actually used, it quickly becomes corrupt. You see, you need someone to make sure that everyone has the same things and is equal, which the government would normally do. This in itself gives the people within the government more power than the rest of the population. You see the relation? I've never seen anything like this used in media like it was. I've always been interested in politics and different forms of government, so it's fun seeing the show explore the idea. It's not shown much in general media, let alone a show for kids. You can tell that this was more targeted for the older bronies since the kids wouldn't really understand it that much. Already we're seeing the amazing writing skills of Megan McCarthy. So, the markless ponies tell the main six of how Starlight took their marks and kept them in a vault. Sadly, it's not a fallout vault, just a wall of really strong glass. Still looks pretty cool with all the marks behind it though. Starlight then takes them to the vault after the main six ask if they can go to the cave it's in. And surprise surprise, it's a trap. The main six all lose their marks and get trapped in a house until they get converted. I can honestly say I wasn't expecting this. At least, not for all of them to lose them at once. I mean, we've seen Twilight teleport all the main six before, and that was before she got her wings. You would think she could have just teleported them all out and come up with some other plan. This could be some character development though. Twilight trying to take out Star so that she can free the town? If so, she's gained confidence in both her abilities and her title. Good for her. And if not, the writers didn't think this through very well. As time passes, the equal sign cutie marks are slowly changing the main six's personalities. Much like how changing the cutie marks changed them in Magical Mystery Cure, or how Discord changed their personalities in Return of Harmony. The only magic we know of that can change who a pony is like that is chaos magic. And yes, casting a spell wrong would go under chaos magic, as it would be out of control, thus chaotic. Is it possible that Star has knowledge of some spells that she shouldn't? It would add more to her character, but I doubt it. Probably just some spells she learned by less than honest means. I doubt they'll actually go into that at all in the show. Fire the headcanons! Next, the main six come up with the great plan of having Fluttershy claim that she's changed, and steal their marks back. It's easy enough to convince them that Flutters is with them, seeing as she's been talking about how nice the place and people are the whole time. Now this bugs me a little at first, despite it fitting Fluttershy's character to a T, and once I knew that it was a plot point, I was perfectly okay with it. Even happy about it. That they started setting something up like this so early in the premiere shows how much more thought they put into this season. Oh my god. When Starlight asked Flutters who told them about the vault, just oh my god. I had no idea what was going to happen. That had to be one of the best parts in the episode. Just wow. Of course, then Starlight moves the cutie marks into her room and has an unwanted bath. Surprise, surprise, the preacher of equality has something no one else does. Her mark. And one of a wand, no less. I wasn't that surprised that she still had her mark, but I wasn't expecting it either. This episode was so hard to predict what would happen next. They broke away from the famed MLP two-parter checklist, and I approve. It felt like no other episode of the show I've ever seen. It gave me that new feeling, like when I first started watching the show over a year ago, and it left me with the same feeling of awe. So, with secrets enough, Fluttershy comes up with the idea of dumping water on her in front of the whole town. When they see that she was a hypocrite, they rebel and break the vault. While this is going on, the main six and a few of their new friends chase down Star, who has run off with the main six's cutie marks. Couldn't they just rediscover their special talents, or find some counterspell or something? I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't be that hard once they got to the Canterlot archives. They could just look through any book they wanted and find a solution. I'm surprised no one thought of this. I wonder if that would actually work. Now at first, I wasn't a big fan of the characters. That is, until they got their marks back and rebelled. They're actually really cool. I'm not good with names, but I'm sure at some point I'll do a top 10 fave new character list or something, and at least one of them will be in it. Of course, the main six, not having any talent, have to let their new friends get their talents back for them, making use of their own. That sounds like an equal exchange. So the main six get their talents back, and Twilight blocks an amazing laser spell with a beautiful looking shield spell. Then Star goes running into the caves with her tail between her legs. Metaphorically speaking. That's right, she only has one leg left. Pinky cut off the other three. Spoiler. Alright, I have to talk about the visuals first because oh dear Celestia, were they amazing. From the very first scene, we can see how much everything has improved. The backgrounds are more detailed, the animation has improved. Oh dear Luna, some of the spells in this just look so amazing. If they do the visuals for this season like they did in this episode, it will be one hell of a season. The only reason it wasn't as noticeable through a lot of the episode was because the setting was kind of boring. But there was a reason for that, so it's cool. Still though, I wish the setting was a little more easier on the eyes. Ugh. P.S. Me has good grammar. Me learn grade first. I love the new character designs as well. They made a lot of cool, interesting new puppets to work with that weren't just recolors of the old ones. You could see the effort that was put into them and everything else in the episode. I think this episode shows some big changes for the show as we know it. It's taken a totally different turn. Whether it'll continue to be good or bad remains to be seen, but so far, I love it. This was one of the best season premieres for the show. And wow, was the episode innovative. This was the first MLP two-parter that actually broke away from the two-parter checklist. I mean, the villain got away. This means she'll be back. The antagonist thought that she was doing something good. She wasn't evil just because she was. She thought she was actually helping people. It's amazing. This episode was like no other I've ever seen. I love that it broke away from the standard MLP stuff and started exploring new ways to do things. Am I sensing a super fun seasonal arc? Wait, everyone's already figured out about that? Damn it. Now, this is not to say that the episode is without flaws. Everything has flaws. Some of this is nitpicks, but I just need to voice them to kind of give this review some balance. Remember when Star got that one guy to go get the main 6's cutie marks? If the staff was just a random stick she found and she was using her magic to do it, then how did he get the marks out of the vault? That's kind of a big plot hole, and one that I'll be expanding on in a later video. The other thing is that the second the map told them to go to this place in the middle of nowhere, they mindlessly followed it. They didn't even bother learning the town's name. They didn't tell anyone safe or spec where they were going. They didn't even ask the princess about the map, something Twilight would have always done, and went across the country without any provisions. They didn't bring any food. They didn't even bring their bags. They pretty much just went into unknown, possibly dangerous territory with no provisions, and didn't even bother to learn the area. They went in half-cocked and blind. If there had been a monster there, or they would have ended up stuck there for more than a few days, then shit would have hit the fan. But then that's not a problem with the episode so much as with the main 6 not thinking ahead. Still, I would hope for a better plan from a princess. She can't lead one scouting mission and yet they give her a castle? Please. The biggest thing I haven't mentioned about this yet is the two-parter is way less forced than Twilight's Kingdom. Silverquill and Doc Rolf said this in a BabsCon vlog that I'll be linking below, but I feel like I have to mention it. In Twilight's Kingdom, they had to knock down nearly everyone in the country in order for Twilight and the main 6 to run in and save the day. In this episode, it felt very natural. Overall, I really liked this episode. It was nothing like any other MLP episode I have ever seen, and I had a lot of fun watching it. If you haven't seen it yet, or you want to see my reaction to my first time seeing it, the link's down below. So with that, I am off into the rift.